actions, causing a narrow interest for the government to take control. Brutus number 1 is the dangers of a centralized government that might impede on the rights and liberties of the people. What is Federalist number 51 about? If all men were angels, the government must control itself, keep each other in check, checks and balances. Dividing power between the states, the feds, and the 3 branches. Bicameral legislature. Dividing power up. Federalist number 17. A single, strong executive that can make quick decisions with passion and determination that would be good for the country. Plurality as a head instead of a single executive would be bad because it could impede or frustrate / slow down the lawmaking process / conceal faults because you can't always tell who the root of the problem is, like transferring blame or transferring responsibility. What about Federalist 78? Judicial review, declare acts unconstitutional from the judicial branch. They must have good behavior. And the power of the people is stronger than the judicial and legislative branch. And the judicial branch is to keep both order and limit the power of the people. And legislature, not the power of the people, but keep them in order. The power of the people is supreme. Federalist 78. 15 supreme. 15 supreme. 7 plus 8 equals 15. 15 supreme. What is the letter from Birmingham Jail? Martin Luther King's why they needed to take direct action. Civil rights for blacks in the movement. Direct, peaceful action. Because they can't just sit around and wait for things to happen. Alright, on to Unit 4. What is the 14th Amendment? The Equal Protection Act and the Due Process, removing selective incorporation from the states. Selective incorporation being when states choose / select which Bill of Rights amendments were applicable to that state. And then that made it all the Bill of Rights were applicable to the state's due process and everyone was treated equally. What is it called when the law applies to everyone in society equally to all members, independent of what job they may hold, government official they may hold? The rule of law. And the rule of law can also go with the Whistleblower Protection Act and the public purse, law enforcement, free press to keep power checked. That the law applies to everyone. What is the free enterprise? And what Democratic Party is usually part of this? This would be the laissez-faire. The government does not touch the economy or barely touches the economy. The laissez-faire mean leave it, let it be. And it leaves consumers and producers on their own. The branch this would be the conservatives / Republicans. And the opposite of this would be the liberals, who Keynesian economics. Keynesian economics type belief, and this means that the government puts money in the economy when supply is high but demand is low, and take money out when demand is too high. They can also raise taxes. So this Keynesian economics, liberals / the left and conservatives on the right, with supply side economics / free enterprise. Supply side economics, free enterprise, laissez-faire. It's all the same. What is limited government? Yeah, where law is kept under control with checks and balances. Limited government, checks and balances. Federalist 51, checks and balances. Just remember generational effects. Name a few generational effects, which would be just things that could affect the party affiliation or political mindset of generations. Yep, things like the Great Depression, wars, the Vietnam War, the stock market crash of 2008, lifestyle effects, the New Deal coalition, 9/11. Those are all things that can affect those certain generations. 9/11, 2008, millennials, wars, boomers, Gen X, any of those. What is something's political socialization, by the way, is what that part is. Name some of the things that could affect somebody's political socialization. Family, school, college, peers, media, and social environments like church, institutional beliefs, religious things like that. Family being one of the biggest ones, especially for children. But the media is also starting to be a prominent figure in forming political socialization / beliefs in children. What is globalization? Expanding an interactive world economy. The US is just a big influence around the world. Like how there's a McDonald's in almost every country. McDonald's started in the US, I think. I'm gonna try and stay in uniform. My notes are all over the place. What is social welfare? Support for disadvantaged people to meet their needs, like healthcare and the New Deal. It's just to boost the welfare of the people. What is the difference between liberal and conservative beliefs in the social welfare area? The liberals want a safety net from the government, paid for with taxes. They want higher taxes to get better social welfare. This would also be called entitlements, government services that contributes to national debt. And the conservatives, they want less taxes, but the government to lower healthcare What is the Social Security Act? It is, during the Great Depression, it was a small tax taken out of the people who were employed paychecks to pay for like elderly and unemployed during that Great Depression time. What is, connecting back to entitlements, what is mandatory spending? It is like Social Security, Medicare, food stamps, bonds. It is the paying those who are legally entitlements for it. They're entitled for that money. Like Medicare, Social Security, they need health care, they need money because they're old. Medicaid, by the way, Medicaid is for the poor, Medicare is for the old. What is the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act? / Obamacare. This is when Obama privatized healthcare, like Medicaid. He says private companies would provide better services, but this was fought by the Republicans because the Republicans want more public health care. Didn't want government involvement in his health care with the privatizing of it, but it being controlled by the government. But the liberals were all for this. And Obama was a liberal, I believe. Remind me which conservatives or liberals want free market, supply side, laissez-faire economy, and which one wants a Keynesian economics economy. Conservatives, unregulated market, leave it alone. Liberals, Keynesian economics, government need help. Going into the job part of this, liberals want higher wages for better, happier workers, and conservatives just want to leave it alone. Let supply and demand be laissez-faire. What was the case of Griswold v. Connecticut? The right to privacy in form of contraception. And this opened the gate to talk about abortion and gay marriage rights. You could guess which party was for this and which party was against this. Conservatives want core traditions. So they were like, no, gay bad, abortion bad, privacy bad, contraception bad. Liberals want the freedom to have private/personal matters, which would include the right to marry whoever you want, right to have an abortion, and contraception. What is the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act in relations to privacy? This would be the collection of data needs to be approved by the court. So kind of like metadata. What is metadata? Metadata is the who and when of like texts and phone calls, but not the what, not the actual conversation itself, just the who and what. The who and when, not the what. And going in, and this was like around 9/11, and they just wanted to get all the information to get rid of the terrorists. Conservatives wanted to, they wanted to support this. They supported national security. And liberals, going back to Griswold v. Connecticut, they want privacy, they want private matters, so they wanted stricter limits on government surveillance. What is the 16th Amendment? This allowed Congress to tax incomes, going with the IRS, which oversees income taxes. What are some main goals, economic goals of the government? No national debt, lower taxes, and enhanced government services. Yeah, our government's doing quite well in that department. Going hand in hand with these, they were hard to all get achieved, especially the no national debt thing. But these were just some goals that you could talk about in FRQ of the government, and things like sin taxes, which are taxes on like drugs and gambling and stuff that people are still going to pay for if these taxes get higher because they want to gamble and they want drugs. And sin taxes helped with those kind of things. And once again, Republicans in the economy want supply side economics, free enterprise / laissez-faire, free market, let supply and demand govern. The Democrats want government spending, more social welfare, more taxes, Keynesian economics, government to help the economy. What's the difference between progressive tax and a flat tax rate? Progressive tax, as one income. As a person's income increases, so does the amount of their tax. If I'm poor, I pay less tax. Flat taxes, everybody pays the same percentage of their income, no matter the wealth. And you could imagine which one the rich people are for and which one the poor people are for. What is monetary policy? Value of the dollar is regulated by the government who regulate the amount of dollars in circulation. This would also, the people who regulate this are part of the Federal Reserve Bank / board. They put dollars into circulation. If they feel like the value of the dollar is getting too high, so they can lower the value of the dollar. They also can take some out by raising taxes. The Federal Reserve Board sets monetary policy by selling or buying bonds and setting interest rates. They also set the discount rate, which is interest rate at which the federal bank loans dollars to commercial banks. Raising discount rates slows the flow of dollars. And then all of these things that I'm talking about, like taxes, discount rate, bonds, the selling of bonds, setting interest rates. This raises revenue for the federal government and commercial banks to put back into the economy with social welfare, but most of it goes towards the military. For what? What is globalization again? Increasing world economy. Trade balance is when the exports and imports are equal. Trade deficit is when there is less exports than there is imports. Last thing for Unit 4. What is the North American Trade Agreement? USA, Canada, and Mexico don't tax the intertrades. Like laissez-faire, but with taxes between North America. On to Unit 5. Before we do Unit 5, let's review the articles. Article 1 is the legislative branch and the checks that, like, vetoed on the legislative branch and their job of creating policy and laws. Article 2, the different hats of the executive, like chief diplomat, how they're making foreign agreements, chief of party, chief of state, chief legislator, and the requirements to be president. Article 3, judicial branch and their job to keep order with the people and checks and balances on legislative branch. Keep laws. This goes hand in hand with Judiciary Act of 1789, Federalist 78, and Marbury versus Madison. Judicial review. Article 4, interstate relations, like interstate commerce clause and commerce clause and the elastic clause are part of the First Amendment. First article, by the way. Fourth, interstate relations. Fifth, amending the Constitution. And sixth is supremacy clause. Seventh, this is 9 out of 13 states agree that this is the law of the land now. The Constitution covers the land. Oh, that was all the articles. On to Unit 5. Which, this can be used for two things, by the way, but I'm looking for one right now. Just need both. What is labeled as the fourth branch? The media, but the other answer I was looking for is the bureaucracy. They're both considered the fourth branch. What is investigative reporting? This would be reporters who dug deep to find corruption, like Rockefeller's monopoly, and conditions in the cities. This could also be used going in hand with the New York Times v. United States v. New York Times, New York Times v. United States, whichever one it is, because that uncovered a scandal and led to no prior restraint on the press. Freedom of Press, Amendment 1. What is horse race journalism? This is when there's updates on the elections and the scorekeeper role misleads or overtakes what's actually being proposed. Horse race, just whoever's ahead, that's what they're reporting on. Scorekeeper. What is a gatekeeper? Gatekeeper. They only show certain news. Sometimes it doesn't have to be a person, but it could be a news outlet, like Fox News. They only show one side of the story, or they keep some facts to themselves to make one party look better or one person look better. What is the watchdog role in the media? This could go hand in hand with investigative reporting. The watchdog is the person who is doing the investigative reporting. They investigate, report, and then do an expose. Name some big pieces of media that would help spread information, just like the TV. Like that's an example. In the early America, the telegraph, news bureaus with the newspapers, news bureaus being like a chain restaurant but for newspapers, the radio, then the television, cable's news network. Kennedy used the news network to make his debate look good, you remember that? Broadcast networks, broadcast to affiliates like the smaller news networks. Yeah, and then online now, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter and Trump. What is a linkage institution? And then name two linkage institutions. Media. Linkage institutions are channels that connect people with the government, and it could be the media. The media is a big linkage institution. And then another one that could be named is interest groups, who also help inform or persuade people and link them with the government. Like the NAACP, interest group. National Convention, what is that? It is when Democrats and Republicans send representatives to debate certain topics and set policies, / get them passed, like minimum wage. The parties, that's just some information to throw out there. Parties are constantly looking to win seats in the House to get majority to pass certain policies. They want strong people, well-liked people for candidates. Anyone can join a party, but there's these official Democratic / Republican national committees who like to debate and get behind a party, like president, to fund them. What is pluralism? It is in all three branches of government, different voices / views / more interest groups. It's what Federalist number 10 was afraid of, was pluralism. Same with Federalist number 17. Executive pluralism bad. But it can be good to get different voices and views. You gotta look at it from both ways. Name some characteristics of interest groups. Like just what their role is in society. They can make major decisions for our interests. Can be very broad, be very limited. They work with lawmakers, they lobby, they fund through PACs, which we'll talk about in a second. They can be corrupt through bribery, creative dominance. What is the free rider problem? The free rider problem. When smaller groups help bigger groups, that for an overall benefit, but the smaller group has little resources and barely puts anything into it, just really free rides off the bigger group. What is an iron triangle? Bonds between an agency, congressional committee, and interest group, which benefits each of them. What is it called when there's a group of interest groups with similar interests? interests, then get together to focus on a similar issue. That once the problem is resolved, they disband. And they may come from other areas, but they want to focus together on this one certain goal. And it doesn't have to be interest groups either. It could be agencies or congressional committees. I was looking for issue networks. And yeah, once it's done, they disband. And they could come from different areas. What is direct lobbying? They also use press to mobilize their memberships to call legislation to exert influence. These groups use direct lobbying directly to the people. What is grassroots lobbying? It is when interest groups try to inform, persuade, or mobilize large groups of people. Now, what is grass tops campaigning? Tops, grass top campaigning. They're just targeting the opinion leaders and those who have lawmaker contacts. So, like the top people of society, the opinion leaders, grass tops campaigning. And grassroots would be campaigning to the people. Grassroots lobbying is lobbying the people. Campaigning, they're pretty much the same thing. What is a 501c3 group? And resources of interest groups. Comparisons. These are non-profit organizations that can get tax deductions for charitable donations, but cannot lobby. Examples would be like churches or hospitals. They're just non-profit interest groups. 501c4 groups are these are like social welfare groups, can lobby and campaign, but can only spend half of their expenditures politically. These are types of interest groups. They can also have researching departments that people can ask questions to get facts behind their campaigns. And some use endorsement, like a public expression of support from, I don't like, the commercials, like, I'm Biden and I approve this message. That's endorsement. And they can campaign through the media using infomercials, call lines, social media. Just get that. Remember that. What is an incumbent president? It's one who already held or is holding office and had an advantage to getting reelected, which is the incumbent advantage phenomenon. Like how I'm a Biden and I approve this message. People know them and like them. Some advantages that they might have are name recognition. They already have press popularity. They already have a war chest, which is, what is a war chest? It's a campaign fund for candidates. Sometimes, depending how big it is, can determine the election outcome. They have a bigger war chest, more relationships with interest groups. That's the incumbent advantage phenomenon. What is a primary election? This is the very first election. It's when delegates consider citizen vote at the National Convention. What are the closed primaries, the open primaries, and the blanket primaries? What is the difference between these three? Post-primary is when voters have to declare party affiliation before they vote. Open primary, voters can declare party affiliation on that day at the election polls. And a blanket primary, you can cast votes for different parties, / a split ticket. Like for vice president, I could vote Mike, the Republican, and for president, I could vote Biden. Split ticket, that'd be a blanket primary. What is a caucus? Before voting, there's like a public lecture / discussion talking about each president and their goals. Like in Iowa, New Hampshire, these are states that do this. Brings front-loading states who use this to boost tourism. And just like a public discussion on who they think they should vote for. What is the day that states happen to hold primaries? Most states happen to hold primaries on this day. Super Tuesday. It's called Super Tuesday. What is the proportional system? Whatever percentage of parties are voted for, that percentage of delegates are sent to the convention, where they might be sent to the convention, like the primary, to consider citizens' vote on who they think should be president. The general election is the actual election when two candidates emerge and debates are held. What is the winner-take-all system in the Electoral College? This is the candidate who receives the plurality / most of the votes and then wins all the electoral votes for that state. What type of states do candidates focus on to try and get votes from? The swing states, especially the swing states with the bigger votes. What is the 23rd Amendment? Washington, D.C. has 3 votes in the Electoral College. Who breaks the tie if neither of the presidents get a majority of 270 votes from the Electoral College? The House of Representatives. What is the coattail effect? It is when a president gets elected and a Congress member has high chances of winning from that party. Like if the president is a Democrat and wins, then a person from Congress who is a Democrat also has high chances of winning. This is the coattail effect. Something to think about: if there's a bad economy for incumbents during their presidency, they have a significant less chance of getting re-voted if the economy is bad during their presidency. What is gerrymandering, and how does this affect the election? Gerrymandering is when there's redrawing of districts to favor a certain political party in voting, and it suppresses the competition, and incumbents don't bat an eye at the opposing party. It affects the election because it'll favor probably the other party, and these safe countries or counties allow others from that party to emerge, and then the other parties start running a grassroots campaign targeting the people. And that can affect its way going all the way up to the president with the delegates. What is a PAC/PAC? Political Action Committee. it impacts the election through donations, protests, or public ads. These are formed by interest groups to fund campaigns for politicians. Kind of like the National Rifle Association, they would give money to Trump. It's just an interest group funding organization. What is a 527 organization? It is a PAC that is tax exempt because they are influence election. Okay. A PAC that is tax exempt is what I got from that. The president needs staff when they get elected. What is debates, TV ads? How might these affect how the people view presidential candidates? Like with the Kennedy and Nixon debate, Kennedy was seen on TV and he looked a lot stronger with these TV ads. That's how he helped put off a stronger view to the people of himself. And Nixon looked horrible. I think he was sick. But on the radio, it sounded like Nixon was stronger and Kennedy was weaker. So depending how you look at it, it can be risky for the candidates to say the wrong thing or poor performance. Incumbents usually don't risk it to take debates. Social media, how might that help portray a certain image of the candidates? Like Barack Obama, there's YouTube ads, linkage data through social media to target only certain demographics, to like micro-identify these people. Facebook sells info, Twitter, TikTok, to just target these certain people and get them to vote for Obama. It can portray a certain, like, Obama also used photography to portray that he was a man of the people. Trump also used social media, like a State of the Union address, kind of, to link its institution with the people. Sorry if you guys can hear that. That's the shower running. My wall is connected to the bathroom. So the wall right there. So, what is a connected PAC? PAC. These are labor unions or trade organizations that form groups to fund with their treasury money, like Coca-Cola, Ford. These are companies, connected PACs. What is a leadership PAC? These would be formed by that candidate, like Trump would have formed a leadership PAC to raise money from the public, but it can only be used for non-campaign expenditures. Like if you wanted to go to the spa, it would pay for that, but if you wanted to put up a sign saying vote for me, it wouldn't do that. And what is a super PAC PAC? These can donate unlimited amounts as long as they don't formally connect to that campaign. What is a joint fundraising committee? This is rich people who donate. Yeah, that's pretty much it. What is the difference between hard money, soft money, and dark money? is given directly to a candidate. Soft money is untracked. And dark money is also untracked, lack of info, where it came from. People give money to groups who give it to candidates, so then it can be more tracked. There's loopholes through this, but eventually the Bipartisan Campaign Reform Act did what? It banned soft money. What is the Federal Election Commission? This prevents individual donors from giving more than $1,000 to a federal candidate. Now it's $2,000. Party contributions, $25,000. You can give unlimited to the party, by the way. But you could. Now it's only $25,000. The Federal Election Commission / the FEC put limits on amount of money given to people, and the Bipartisan Campaign Reform Act banned soft money, and dark money was kind of already banned. What is the Citizens United v. the FEC? This was when Citizens United v. the Federal Election Commission overturned key parts of the law. It talked about super PACs and donations to campaigns. Now on to Unit 3. Also in the Citizens United v. the FEC, the justices said the government's rationale for the limits on corporate spending to prevent corruption was not persuasive enough to restrict political speech. And it was judicial activism. It was to restore citizens' control in the combination of education, advocacy, and grassroots organization, seeking to reassert the traditional American values of limited government, freedom of enterprise. So just the citizens' ability of speech to donate to which candidates they want and more money that they want. Oh my God, Jesus Christ. Unit 3 is going to be for another video because I do not have enough storage on my phone for the amount of pages I have to go through. So I'll probably try to upload it right after this because the AP test is tomorrow. So good luck to you guys who are still studying.